Hi, I'm Damari Gurry. You're watching Reggae Boyz commentary.
This video is brought to you by Andy Gone Nuts. 100% guaranteed fresh coconut water delivered straight to your door. Call 876-309-6128. That's 876-309-6128. Refreshing and affordable. For more information, follow them on Instagram at Andy Gone Nuts. Truly refreshing. And Crumble by Mrs. C. Old English fudge and other delectable sweet treats. Call or WhatsApp 876-586-0471. That's 876-586-0471.
Hi, my name's Lee Williamson. Subscribe to Reggae Boyz commentary.
Hi, my name is Joby McAnuff. Subscribe to Reggae Boyz commentary.
I'm Javon Watson, and you're watching Reggae Boyz commentary.
Hi everybody, I'm Darren Moore, and you're watching Reggae Boyz commentary.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing? I'm Simon Preston, and welcome back to Reggae Boyz commentary. This is your platform where we get into everything in relation to Jamaican football. This is your hub for everything Jamaican football related. All is well? Well, I hope you all are doing well. And it's such a pleasure to be able to hear from you guys, and looking forward to the discussion that we'll have today. You know, it's a very exciting evening. It's now April 3, 2025. And where are you guys watching this video from today? Do put in the comment section as well, so that we can be able to see and hear from you guys as well. Where are you watching this video from? Which city, which country, which village, which county? Yeah, looking forward to see what you guys have to say there. All right, so looking forward to that. Now, before we get into the content of the title of this video, just a couple of things so that everybody is aware as well. We want to say a massive big up and congratulations. Well, let's put congratulations on ice for now, but a massive big up towards two former Reggae Boys who are doing outstanding things with their clubs right now in England. We have two former Reggae Boys, one that is a manager of a club and one that is the first team coach at his club right now in the English League Two. So you can have a situation where come May 3rd, we can have two former Reggae Boys being part of their team being promoted to League One. And what a fantastic thing that is, where we'd have two former Reggae Boys helping their clubs to promotion to League One. And who am I speaking about specifically? Well, firstly, we're talking about Darren Byfield. You remember Darren Byfield? Played for Jamaica in the 2003 edition of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Darren Byfield scored for Jamaica against Paraguay at the National Stadium. Yes, that Darren Byfield, born in the Midlands. And of course, he is the first team coach at Walsall. And Walsall are flying in League Two as they push for promotion to League One. And last, but certainly by no means least, Darren Moore, who is actually the manager of Port Vale in League Two. Now, Darren Moore, we know in terms of what he has done, the first former Reggae Boy to be the manager of a club within the English Premier League at West Bromwich Albion, and of course was a manager in the Championship with them at West Brom as well. Spent some time at Doncaster Rovers, with a Huddersfield Town, but Sheffield Wednesday is a place that we remember him quite vividly as well. Remember the playoff finals in 2023? Well, semi-finals in 2023 when they took on Peterborough United 4-0 down after the first leg, and the second leg rally back to win 5-1, and then to go and win the penalty shootout. Yep, that Darren Moore helping his team being promoted from League One to the Championship, and Sheffield Wednesday are still a Championship team. Yeah, that's right. Darren Moore helped them to be a Championship club. So Darren Moore and Port Vale, they're third, and if they remain in the top three, then they'll be automatically promoted to English League One, the EFL League One. So we can have two former Reggae Boys guiding clubs to League One. So fantastic, and we want to see this positivity continuing amongst our Jamaican internationals. So this is great. We have our Reggae Girls in action as well this weekend, April 5 and April 8, and we'll have further information on that, but you can stay tuned to JFF Live, become a member of JFF Live, $9.99, and you can be able to watch the Reggae Girls play. All right, good. Let's take some of the comments before we go into the title of this video, shall we? Big up Simon, how are you doing? All is well? Yeah, most things under control, thanks. Thursday Night Live, Manchester, UK now. All right, Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver, I'll tell you why Vancouver is so important to Jamaica quite shortly. I'm so special says up. Detonation says blessings. Florida, listening. Ty says bless up. Chrissy says watching from Dallas. Okay. Dallas in house. Atlanta. Houston, Texas. Panama. You're in Panama right now. Panama City. Darien Gap. Whereabouts in Panama? Yeah, do let me know. Okay, good. So let's get into the video now, shall we? Okay. West Coast. What am I speaking about when I speak about the West Coast? Where am I speaking about specifically? What areas in particular? Why is this something that I'm discussing? Why is this important to Jamaican football? So let's get to it. And I'm going to be able to highlight for you in relation to a graphic. Well, share my screen, and then I'll be able to show you exactly what I'm referring to. So that's what I'm going to do right now, so you can be able to see. Okay. So what you should see right now is a map. Yes. This is a map of parts of the Caribbean and Central America right now. So what we're going to do now is go up to North America. All right, good. Okay, so the CONCACAF Gold Cup, June 14 to July 6. And the Gold Cup itself will take place on the West Coast, while the FIFA Club World Cup, which is taking place simultaneously, will be on the East Coast. The East Coast of the United States, which of course is Miami, Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, etc., etc. All right. The Gold Cup will take place on the West Coast. And of course, there'll be a few games in Texas as well and St. Louis, Missouri. But the vast majority of the Gold Cup will be on the West Coast. And what cities are we talking about? We're talking about Vancouver, Canada. Yes, Vancouver, Canada. We're talking about San Jose. We're talking about San Diego. We're talking about Los Angeles, California. We're talking about Las Vegas, Nevada. We're talking about Glendale, Arizona. Okay. So this is the West Coast. So most of the games in the Gold Cup will be on the West Coast of the United States and Canada. Okay. Everybody got that? Everybody understand that? Let me run through the venues again. Vancouver, Arlington, which is in Texas, Austin, which is in Texas, Carson, which is California, LA, Glendale, which is in Arizona, Houston, which is in Texas, Inglewood, which is LA, California, Minneapolis, which is in Minnesota, Paradise, which is Las Vegas, Nevada, San Diego, which is in California, San Jose, which is in California, Santa Clara, which is in California, and St. Louis, which is in Missouri. Okay, so one venue in Canada, which is Vancouver, and the rest being in the United States, the vast majority of them being on the West Coast. Now, is this something that is new for Jamaica? No, this is not something that is new to Jamaica at all. In fact, when you go back to Jamaica's debut in the CONCACAF Gold Cup back in 1991, you will see that the West Coast has been a place where Jamaica has played numerous football matches in the Gold Cup. Jamaica's debut at the Gold Cup in 1991 against Mexico actually came at the Memorial Coliseum in LA. And this is where Jamaica also took on Honduras and Canada in that very, very same Gold Cup. In 1993, when Jamaica shared the third place with Costa Rica, Jamaica took on the United States at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. The same venue as well against Honduras, our first ever win at the Gold Cup, and the same venue as well against Panama as well. In the semifinals of the tournament, it was at the Azteca Stadium where Hector Wright scored and became the first Jamaican to score at the Azteca Stadium. And then the third place playoff was also at the Azteca Stadium as well. You go to the 1998 Gold Cup, and that was the first time where Jamaica played a match on the East Coast in the Gold Cup. And this was against Brazil at the Orange Bowl Stadium in Miami. I remember that venue quite vividly. I watched a Gold Cup game in 2003 against Colombia there. So play against Brazil in Miami, and then a couple of days later taking on Guatemala at the LA Coliseum, and then a day after that taking on El Salvador. The semifinals, same venue, and also the third place playoff against Brazil, also in the same venue as well. In 2000, we were in a group with Colombia and Honduras, and those games were at the Orange Bowl Stadium in Miami. Same again, 2003, in a group with Guatemala and Colombia. Orange Bowl Stadium in Miami were the two group stage games, and then the quarterfinals, which of course took place at the Azteca Stadium. In 2005, we went to the West Coast, right? We took on Guatemala in Carson, went back to the LA Coliseum to face South Africa, and then Reliance Stadium to face Houston. Quarterfinals was on the East Coast at the Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. 2009 Gold Cup, our first game, Carson, California, then Columbus for the second game in Ohio, and then the FIU Stadium in Miami. 2011, you could say, it provided symmetry in terms of the group stage of the tournament. Started off in LA, the second game in Miami, and then the third game rather, at the Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. Quarterfinals, RFK Stadium, Washington, D.C. All right. So before we look at 2015, I'm just making the point that Jamaica playing matches on the West Coast is not something that is new. It's not something that is new at all. And we have evidence as well about positive results in this corner of the globe. So this is not something that phases people. Now, I'm fully aware and I've said on this platform on numerous occasions about the Jamaican diaspora that lies within the United States and Canada, which of course is predominantly East Coast. From Toronto to Connecticut to Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Maryland, West Virginia, the Carolinas, Atlanta, Georgia, down to Florida, from Jacksonville to Orlando to Port St. Lucie to Coral Springs to Fort Lauderdale to Miami to the Keys. Fully aware about the Jamaican diaspora there. And this summit's another opportunity again to spread our wings to the West Coast as well. Now, this is the third year in a row where we have a tournament that is taking place within the United States. Gold Cup 2023, Copa America 2024, and now Gold Cup 2025. So you can see that this is a building momentum sort of element. Jamaica and the current crop of players getting used to different venues across the North American region. Because think about it. Chicago, St. Louis, Santa Clara, Ohio, Vegas, Dallas, Houston, Austin. Yeah. So these are the venues that have played within the United States just in the last 2 years. You understand what I'm saying? So the players are getting used to the different time zones. We saw that in the 2023 edition of the Gold Cup, where we went from East Coast to West Coast, back to East Coast for the quarterfinals, and then back to West Coast for the semifinals. So the players are not only familiar and accustomed with the travel, which of course is 3-4 hours when you're going east to west coast, depending on which state and city that you're going, but also the time zone as well. You're going to Las Vegas, you're going to LA, you're 2 hours behind Jamaica. You're playing a match in New York, New Jersey, you're an hour ahead of Jamaica. You understand what I'm saying? Even if did you know that Hawaii is 5 hours behind Jamaica? Yeah, it's just the reality of the situation. So this is not something that is new. So the players are aware of the quality of the surfaces in the United States and also the time zones, the travel, the facilities, the hotels. So the players are fully immersed and know what exactly it is. And it can only bode well when we head into tournaments like the Gold Cup this summer. So it's not our first rodeo. And it's very different when you have an experience of doing something versus somebody that has never done something before and are predicting, anticipating, speculating. So it is a very, very different conversation when you have experienced something versus something that you've never experienced before in your life. So that is another positive that is in the favor of Jamaica and why it should be respected and appreciated. All right, good. So now that we have that said, now we can be able to progress further on now. 2015 Gold Cup for Jamaica, what was that like? So in the 2015 Gold Cup for Jamaica, LA was the first venue, then Houston, then Toronto. So Jamaican diaspora getting some matches there. Quarterfinals was in Baltimore. Of course, Jamaicans that lie in Baltimore, Maryland. It says no surprise there. Semifinals was in Atlanta against the United States. And of course, the final was at Lincoln Financial Field against the Philadelphia Union, against Mexico in Philadelphia, right? 2017 Gold Cup, we went to the final again. San Diego was the first game. Denver, Colorado was the second game. And third game was in San Antonio. The quarterfinals was in Glendale, Arizona. Semifinals was in Pasadena. Yep. And the final, Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. 2019, remember, was a very historic start because on home soil, Jamaica hosting a match in the Gold Cup, right? Beating Honduras by 3-2, and then going to Houston to face El Salvador, and then against Curacao in LA. The quarterfinals against Panama was in Philly. The semifinals against the US was in Nashville, Tennessee. The 2021 Gold Cup now, remember, the group stage, Orlando. The quarterfinal against the United States, Arlington, Texas. And I mentioned the venues from the 2023 Gold Cup as well. I spoke about and yes, Canada did host a few games in the last Gold Cup as well. Soldier Field in Chicago to St. Louis, Missouri, and then, of course, going to the Santa Clara to face St. Kitts and Nevis. Quarterfinals, Cincinnati, FC Cincinnati, TQL Stadium, and semifinals, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. All right? So that is what it has been like. And we know, so at the last Gold Cup, right, Canada, they hosted Guadeloupe in Toronto. 2025, there's going to be games in Vancouver. The quantity of games, still to be decided. But we know for sure there's going to be matches in Vancouver. All right, we know that as a fact. The group stage of the Gold Cup, June 14 to 24. Quarterfinals, 28th and 29th. The semifinals, July 2, and the final, July 6. Okay, we know that Mexico is going to be in Group A. Mexico Group A, and the first game is going to be at SoFi Stadium in California. Group B, Canada is hosting that group. Group C, Panama is hosting that group. Group D, the United States are hosting that group. In the United States, Fox Soccer is going to be showing the games alongside TUDN. Same with in Mexico as well, Canada One Soccer. In the Caribbean, ESPN Plus, Central America, ESPN Plus, South America as well, ESPN Plus. Good. Let me see what Pearsons are saying in the comments before I progress further about the Gold Cup. Well, Roger, the important thing is to show support. I wouldn't say that Cincinnati has a large Guatemalan diaspora, but guess what? They filled 90% of that stadium against Jamaica, and we won. So Guatemalans from all across North America gathered together in FC Cincinnati for that quarterfinal in the Gold Cup. So we can do the same as well. You know that we as Jamaicans, we're everywhere. So it should be our mandate to do the same as well. Whether you are a Jamaican that lives in Miami, in Atlanta, in Fort Lauderdale, in New York, in New Jersey, in Chicago, in DC, you can do it. Okay, cool. Michael Thomas says, big up. Too close to call says, big up. How are you doing? Well, Roger, seeing Jamaica in a Gold Cup final, it would be great, wouldn't it? You know, so that would be good. Okay, let's continue, shall we? Well, Roger, we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Ecuador. So what happens in Copa America is that there's a rotation system. And according to the old host rotation order of CONMEBOL, Ecuador, whose last cup was in 1993, should organize the event. At the end of February 2024, at a meeting between CONMEBOL President Dominguez and government of Daniel Noboa expressed interest in organizing the tournament. Within the application, 8 cities were proposed by the Ecuadorian government. So Ecuador is potential. You mentioned the United States and the infrastructure that they have. According to a Brazilian newspaper recently, there's a contract with US Soccer and CONMEBOL in relation to certain things. So we'll have to wait and see how 2028 pans out. And there's been other reports as well regarding Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay at the aim of like doing a test run prior to the 2030 World Cup. So it's still to be seen who will host the 2028 Copa America. We'll have to wait and to see how that pans out. We don't know if it's going to be a 16 tournament again, or if it's going to still be the 10 Copa America nations, CONMEBOL nations. So we're just going to have to wait to see how all of that pans out. I disagree with Jay Grant. Having Jamaica playing in Miami, in Fort Lauderdale, would be a sellout. So I have to disagree with you there. Mr. Yee says, hail up Simon on the chat. Big up. How are you doing? Gregory Allen, how are you doing, sir? I hope you're doing well. Wendy says, good evening. Good evening. How are you doing? All is well? Well, Roger Grant, Costa Rica has hosted games at the Gold Cup before. This was in 2019. So in the 2019 edition of the Gold Cup, Costa Rica hosted 2 matches, Jamaica hosted 2 matches, and the United States hosted the rest. CONCACAF President, Mr. Victor Montaliani, did express that if had we not had the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2021 edition of the Gold Cup would have featured more games from the Caribbean and Central America, and it's not going to be the end of Caribbean or Central American teams hosting Gold Cups, and that there will be a time down the road where we'll see Caribbean and Central American involvement in terms of hosting the Gold Cup. So yeah, so we've been given those sorts of assurances. And Roger Grant Mexico has hosted a numerous Gold Cups, or co-hosted numerous Gold Cups, I should say, in that regard. Patrick Prendergast says, for real, Simon, even here in New York. Absolutely. Absolutely. Red Bull Arena, New Jersey, having a Jamaica play there. Yeah, you're bound to have people go to that venue. I'm confident about that. 100%. As everybody is aware, the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup will take place in Brazil. The 2031 edition, it's confirmed that the tournament will expand from 32 to 48 teams. And with CONCACAF already having 4 spots for the Women's World Cup, it is set to expand, and possibly it would mean 6 spots for CONCACAF. And that's huge. That is huge in its own right. What a time it is for the United States as well. Think about it. Gold Cup 2023, Copa America 2024, 2025 Gold Cup, 2026 World Cup, 2027 Gold Cup, 2028 Olympic Games. So facilities in the United States are going to be readily active, available, busy. It's a busy time for sports in the United States, and I haven't even mentioned other sporting disciplines as well, like the Rugby World Cup is going to be in the United States down the road as well. So there's numerous tournaments that are on the horizon. So it is an exciting time frame to look forward to, you know? So that is what I would say in those sorts of elements, you know? Yeah, of course. We're talking about, Roger, we're talking about the second, no, our third largest country in the world in terms of size, behind Canada and Russia. In terms of size, you're talking about third largest. In terms of population, yeah, third as well. So from sea to shining sea, west coast to east coast, yeah, a lot of resources. So you're absolutely right there. And you have to look at it as a positive for Jamaica, because Jamaica has been to Gold Cups, Copa Americas in the United States. So we get the feel and the experience of these tournaments and know what is required of us. So it's not new. And that's why it should be viewed as a positive from a Jamaican standpoint. 100%. You know? So it's good. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Yep. Nice thumbnail, Sai. Oh, thank you. Local qualifying. Right. So June 7, we face the British Virgin Islands away. Kickoff 2 p.m. Jamaica time. June 10 against Guatemala. Venue and time of match to be confirmed. We Once we finish in the top 2, we advance to the third round. So we still have our work for us to win these 2 games against Bolivia and Guatemala. And of course, there's the third round, which commences in September. Okay. So that is important. Very, very important for us to go and achieve. All right. Mm-hmm. Nope, Sports Blem organizers are still organizing affairs, so that's why nothing has been sent out from the Jamaica Football Federation, because everything is not set. Well, why do you want that group, Roger? And based on the how seedings are, you may have a situation where you have Haiti and El Salvador in the same pot. So you can't have more than one team from the same pot. So that's the situation there. All right. But it sounds like that is what you want. You're talking Gold Cup, Patrick Riley? Well, 2021, our group stage games were on the East Coast. You would think about the 2015 Gold Cup run. We had matches in Toronto, which is East Coast, Philadelphia, East Coast, Baltimore, East Coast, Atlanta, East Coast. So to say always would not be an accurate statement now, would it? So, as I've said earlier, the FIFA Club World Cup is going to be on the East Coast of the United States this summer, while the West Coast will be the the West Coast is the CONCACAF Gold Cup. So, therefore, the only games that you could say are not West Coast for the Gold Cup are in St. Louis, Missouri. And for me, Texas, I wouldn't consider Texas a West Coast state. I consider Texas a central state. So that is what I would say there. Minnesota, I wouldn't consider Minnesota West Coast, but it's fine. It's fine. Well, Roger, what is important is that we beat British Virgin Islands, beat Guatemala, and if we face Honduras in the Gold Cup, we do not lose to them. And so once we achieve these three things, then we'll remain above Honduras in the FIFA rankings and CONCACAF rankings index. And what that would mean is that it follows up with the point it would follow up in a sense that we would avoid a Panama or a Costa Rica in the third round of the qualifiers. So what needs to happen is we beat BVI, we beat Guatemala, go to the Gold Cup. If we are to face Honduras, we beat Honduras. Do not lose to Honduras. And once we do these things, then there's a strong possibility of avoiding Panama and Costa Rica in the third round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. So that is the point there, so that everybody's aware, okay? So that's what needs to happen. Yeah, and congratulations as well to Warner Brown, who has brought up his 20th goal in the Jamaica Premier League this season. Arnett Gardens, they took on Humble Lion today at the Effortville Community Centre. Warner Brown scoring his 20th goal in the league this season. The Jamaica Premier League regular season ends May 4, while the playoffs should commence a few days after that. So it's still anybody's game in terms of the playoffs. I would say essentially the top two in the league will cement their position there, and the other positions are still fighting to ensure that they secure a spot in those elements. I don't understand what you mean. Loves the AI trend. The AI trend? What do you mean? You're talking about the thumbnail? Is that what you're referring to? The thumbnail? You're referring to? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Correct, Nitro, which is why I'm saying beating British Virgin Islands, beating Guatemala, and avoiding a defeat, so a win or a draw against Honduras if we are to face them in the Gold Cup, which would mean that come the July edition of the FIFA rankings, that we would be ranked ahead of them. So that is why it's important. 6 points in June in World Cup qualifying and a victory or a draw against Honduras, but of course going for wins. So that is so important. And once we're able to maintain our position over Honduras in the FIFA rankings, then the strong possibility exists of avoiding Panama or Costa Rica in the third round of World Cup qualifying. So that is why June is an important time frame for Jamaica, beating BVI, beating Guatemala, going to the Gold Cup. If we are to face Honduras at any point in the Gold Cup, beat them. It's as simple and straightforward as that. The record Niger is Rowan Nelson. Rowan Nelson, when he was at Hazard United, he scored 30 goals in a season. So Rowan Nelson has scored 30 goals in a season. So he stands and holds that record. Warner Brown now with 20. Rowan Nelson has the record with 30. That's Rowan Bumpy Nelson. Well, Roger, did you know that he actually did play outside of Jamaica? He spent some time overseas in Eastern Europe, got an injury, but I trust that once he continues putting the ball in the back of the net, that he will be sold. He will be sold. Even if Arnett Gardens were to win the Premier League and qualify for the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup, I say his future is outside of Jamaica. So it's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So that's what I'd say. Yes, Jason, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Nitro, again, I make the point in two different ways. One, organizers have not confirmed the competition that you are referring to. And secondly, it's not in the FIFA window. So let's say that Jamaica participates in the tournament and makes 6 changes, and the opposition that Jamaica plays makes 6 changes or more, then it wouldn't count in terms of FIFA points. You understand what I'm saying? But if we make less than that amount of changes, then the FIFA points will be affected. Right, Roger, which is why I said at any stage. So we could have Jamaica versus Honduras in a quarterfinal. It could be Jamaica versus Honduras in a semifinal of a tournament, which is why I said at any stage. It could be quarterfinal. It could be semifinal. So that is what I said. What things you're referring to there will be a country to enjoy those things in 2028. You mean in the United States based on the tournaments? Yeah, because everything is gearing up for their grand hurrah for the Olympics in LA 2028. You know, you think about the United States hosting a lacrosse World Cup in 2023, Copa America 2024, 2025, the Gold Cup and FIFA Club World Cup 2026, a World Cup 2027. They're going to be hosting a Women's Rugby World Cup and also a Gold Cup 2028, the Olympic Games. So it's just running in that flow. And 2031, the FIFA Women's World Cup, as it expands from 32 to 48 teams. So that's what I'd say there. Simon, as a Liverpool fan, I just can't watch without saying we're going to win. Which league are you referring to in particular? The Merseyside Cup? Yeah, you won the Merseyside Cup, absolutely. Yeah, you won the Merseyside Cup. I saw that, and I saw the challenge by James Tarkowski yesterday. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Nigel says you're just logging on. Okay. For what? The World Cup qualifiers? Well, the usual is 5 to 7 days before the match. That is what is done. 5 to 7 days. England does it 6 to 8 days before. So England does their squad announcements on Thursdays. Jamaica's squad announcements consistently have been Fridays. The only time it hasn't been on a Friday was for the game against Canada in the Nations League. The squad was announced on a Sunday at that time. And in addition to that, in relation to the Nations League squad for when we went to the semifinals of the Nations League, the squad was announced on a Thursday on that particular occasion. The Copa America squad was announced on a Wednesday. So there's a handful of occasions where it has not been announced on a Friday. That's what I would say. What type of changes are you referring to? I was referring to Nitro's comment about making more than certain substitutions and how it would not affect ranking points. And another thing, Franklin, is when it comes to the seedings for World Cup qualifying, it's the FIFA rankings that are used and not the CONCACAF rankings index. So what will be used to determine the pots and the seeds for the third round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying will be the FIFA rankings, not the CONCACAF ranking index. The CONCACAF rankings index is used for seedings for Nations League and Gold Cup. For World Cup qualifying, it is the FIFA rankings. So that is why I'm stressing the FIFA rankings for the summer, essentially, because the next FIFA ranking is July, and it's almost certain that it will be the July FIFA ranking that will be used for the seedings and pots for the final round of World Cup qualifying, which is essentially the third round of the qualifiers itself. You know, and if you analyze specifically how they are right now, it will be Panama, Costa Rica, Jamaica in pot 1, which means Panama would not face Jamaica or Costa Rica, and same for Jamaica wouldn't face Panama or Costa Rica. Pot 2, you would have Honduras, El Salvador, and Haiti, which means that Jamaica would face one of those three teams, Honduras, El Salvador, and Haiti. In pot 3, you would have Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guatemala. And of course, I'm speaking just based on paper, because come June, you could have a situation where Grenada wins their last 2 games and Trinidad and Tobago does not. And of course, pot 4 would be Nicaragua, Suriname, and Cuba. So Jamaica could have a group that looks like Jamaica, El Salvador, Trinidad, and Cuba. That could be Jamaica's group. That's a possible group for an example, so that you are aware. And the group winner qualifies for the World Cup. Yeah. Did I know KC or JC have never produced an Olympic or world champion despite their... Yes, they've produced medalists, but not champions. Yes, that is true. Wayne Pinnock has gotten silver medals in world championships and Olympic games. I understand that. I do grasp that concept 100%. And I do understand the concept that the athletes that they have brought forward, not many of them were from the corporate area as well. So you think about Buaji Nkrumah, he's from St. Elizabeth, aka Dr. Speed. So that is what I would say there. RFK? Nah, don't worry about RFK anytime soon. No, that won't be an effect to Jamaica. Yes, Franklin, I'm acknowledging what you're saying 100%. So how does Jamaica ensure that we get to be one of the top seeds for the final round of World Cup qualifying? What needs to happen? Well, essentially, this is what needs to happen. Jamaica needs to beat the British Virgin Islands, beat Guatemala, and if Jamaica faces Honduras in the knockout stages of the Gold Cup this summer, beat Honduras. Once those 3 things are accomplished, then we go to the July edition of the FIFA World Rankings, where Jamaica is seated higher than Honduras. So once those things are accomplished, then we look forward to the next draw. So that is what I would say there. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's aware of that. And Roger, it's not the first time as well, because actually Mariano Diaz made his debut for the Dominican Republic back in 2013. But yes, I'm fully aware about how all that comes. He doesn't even have a club right now. That's one aspect of things. Last year, he also only played 9 matches in the league for Sevilla, but yes, he is a quality player. And I'm aware that quite recently he scored against Puerto Rico in a friendly match in the Dominican Republic as well. So I'm aware about him and when he felt like he would be part of the Spanish national setup. And I know how the group is right now. Guatemala, Dominican Republic in World Cup qualifying could be a draw, which means that Jamaica could go to 9 points, Guatemala goes to 7, Dominican Republic goes to 4. And it could be a situation where Jamaica defeats Guatemala, Jamaica goes to 12 points, and the Dominican Republic goes and beats Dominica. And because of goal difference, Dominican Republic could leapfrog Guatemala. So I do understand exactly where you're coming from there. So what does that mean for us? It means focusing on our business, Roger Grant. Win our games and we're safe. And I think it's important to shift the mindset a bit. Just think about it this way. We're 8 games away from a World Cup. We have 2 matches in this second round of qualifiers, and there's going to be 6 matches in the third round of the qualifiers. So essentially, you can say that Jamaica are 8 matches away from a World Cup. That's the margin of how close we are to the World Cup, 8 matches away. And if we win those 8 games, we will be in the World Cup. It's no if or but or maybe about it. Jamaica will be in the World Cup once we win those 8 matches. All right. So hopefully that provides clarity so that you understand it a little bit better, you know? But yes, I know this summer it's going to be the first Gold Cup for the Dominican Republic as well. So they're going to be fine-tuning things and looking at things. They still have Miguel Lloyd in goal at 42, still keeping. He played against Cavalier as well, Cibao against Cavalier, and he's still going, still working hard. You have Junior Firpo over at Leeds United doing his thing as well. You mentioned Mariano Diaz. Yes, he's an asset to the program. They have a Peter Federico who is at Getafe in Spain. So yeah, no pushover as well. So that's where we are right now. So it's just about results. And I've always said the past affects the present, and the present affects the future. The past affects the present, and the present affects the future. Because whatever you see a seeding is, it's because of what you've done in the past. So to improve on something, it's about now. You know? So hopefully that provides clarity. Now, the pots. What about the pots for the Gold Cup? Let's look at that now. Okay? Jamaica in pot 2. Good. So we know at this time, next week, Thursday, well, we're 24 hours and 30 minutes away from the draw. Well, not 24 hours. We are 1 week and 30 minutes away from the draw. Next week, Thursday, 7 p.m., well, 6 p.m. Jamaica time, and 7 p.m. Eastern time. So Jamaica will face one of Mexico, Canada, Panama, United States in the group stages. Jamaica will not face Costa Rica, Honduras, Haiti within the group stages of the Gold Cup. Pot 3 has Guatemala, Trinidad and Tobago, El Salvador, Suriname. So Jamaica will face one of those 3 teams. So there's a 50% chance Jamaica will face a CFU team and a 50% chance Jamaica will face a Central American team. Pot 4 has Guadeloupe, Curacao, Dominican Republic, and Saudi Arabia. So there's a 75% chance that Jamaica will face a Caribbean team in pot 4 and a 25% chance that Jamaica will not. From pot 1, it's a 75% chance that Jamaica will face a North American team. What I've seen online and predictions are a kind draw for Jamaica would be Canada, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Guadeloupe. that would be considered a kind draw for Jamaica. Persons are predicting Canada, Jamaica, Trinidad, Guadeloupe. That is what persons consider would be a kind draw for Jamaica. Some are also saying Panama, Jamaica, Suriname, Guadeloupe. That's another thing that has been said as well. So we'll see. So Jason, so remember when the draw was done for round 1 and round 2 of World Cup qualifying, it was the FIFA rankings that was used. So it's fair to use FIFA rankings. When it comes to the CONCACAF ranking index, the CONCACAF ranking index will be used for seeding, so Gold Cup and Nations League. All right. And of course, for example, Jamaica finished 4th at the CONCACAF Under 15 Boys Championship. So that means that seeding high seeding that Jamaica has now will be used for the draw for the Under 15 Boys Championship for the summer. All right. So hopefully that provides a bit more clarity for you and that you understand things there as well. All right. So yeah. Yeah. It was done specifically, Jason, for seedings for Gold Cup and Nations League. That is the reason behind it. And that's why when it came about in 2018 to have it for that. And it's done for clubs as well. As you know, Cavaliers ranked 100th in the CONCACAF region. So those are done for seedings for draws. So that's the reason why this was done. For CONCACAF specific competition that is not World Cup qualifying, Gold Cup, Nations League, Champions Cup, CONCACAF Caribbean Cup, then the CONCACAF rankings index. And it was something that was outlined when the CONCACAF ranking index was first introduced in 2018. Hansel Parchment, one says from St. Thomas. Yeah. Olympic champion, bronze medal in London, 2012. Hansel Parchment is a St. Thomas lad. World Championship silver medalist, 2015 and 2023. Yeah, quite a journey. Yeah, he's represented well. Olympic champion, NACAC champion. Yeah, it's been quite a experience. Commonwealth silver medalist Ronald Levy won the Commonwealth Games in 2018. Rashid Broadbell won it in 2022. You know, in 2014 was Andrew Riley. You know what I'm saying? It's just amazing. If you think about it, really, 4 of the last 5 were won by Jamaicans. Maurice Mignall, 2006, 2014, Andrew Riley, 2018, Ronald Levy, 2022, Rashid Broadbell. Only 2010, Andy Turner sandwiched that, so to speak. But we go back to the 50s and we have Keith Gardner, that one in 54 and 58. So yeah. Yeah, so that is that. All right. Let me bring up the article so that Jason can see it, since he asked as well, because this was shared in 2008. See? So in 2008 was the launch of the CONCACAF Rankings Index. So let's go through the article. All right. It says, CONCACAF has launched a new ranking index that will serve as a constantly up-to-date ranking system for national teams in North America, Central America, and Caribbean as they compete in the ongoing Nations League, Gold Cup, and other international competitions. The new ranking tool will update with each match result, and will play a key role in determining qualification for important regional and international championships going forward. All right. And I shared with you, Jason, a couple of months ago in terms of the point system of how it was used as well. So this is the formula that is used for the calculation. So the number of points is the importance of the match multiplied by, in bracket, the result of the game minus the expected result, close bracket. And it gives a breakdown. Friendly match is 17.5 points. Official CONCACAF and World Cup qualifying matches is 35 points. And World Cup matches is 50 points. So the formula is here. I mean, Omar McLeod went to Manchester High, but I do understand the point you are making. Omar McLeod went to Manchester High and then went to Kingston College. But I do understand the point that you're making. And he did win the Rio Games in 2016. In fact, he's a world champion, Olympic champion, indoor champion. You know, that's the accolades that Omar McLeod has to his acumen. Goal, and gold. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the senior things. So once he's won medals, it's been gold. Olympics, World Championships, indoor, on an under 20 in Nakak. That was really Carifta Games. You know, he was a 400 hurdles runner as well. But yeah. Time flies because he's 30 now. But yeah, went to Manchester High. Yep, I understand. So it's simple, Jason. We have to beat BVI, we have to beat Guatemala, and if we face Honduras at the Gold Cup, we have to beat them. That will help us moving forward. All right, good. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, I encourage you to hit the like button, share, and also hit the subscribe button to Reggae Boyz Commentary for more content. I appreciate you tuning in with this video in particular on another Thursday night live. Yeah, it's so great to be able to hear from you guys. Please continue to stay tuned for Reggae Boyz Commentary for more content as well. You know, your hub for everything Jamaican football related: accuracy, reliability, credibility, and positivity. So this in itself is great, and we can't wait to have more as we prepare for the summer that lies ahead for all of us. Very, very important times ahead. Okay, folks, thank you all again, and looking forward to seeing all of you very soon. All right, cool.
This video is brought to you by Andy Gone Nuts. 100% guaranteed fresh coconut water delivered straight to your door. Call 876-309-6128. That's 876-309-6128. Refreshing and affordable. For more information, follow them on Instagram at Andy Gone Nuts. Truly refreshing. And Crumble by Mrs. C. Old English fudge and other delectable sweet treats. Call or WhatsApp 876-586-0471. That's 876-586-0471.
Hi, my name is Lee Williamson. Subscribe to Reggae Boyz Commentary.
Hi, my name is Joby McAnuff. Subscribe to Reggae Boyz Commentary.
Hi everybody, I'm Darren Moore, and you're watching Reggae Boyz Commentary.
Yes, Reggae Boyz Commentary, like and subscribe, yeah? Reggae Boyz commentary, like, share, and subscribe.
Reggae Boyz commentary. Subscribe, like, and share.